Mother Maybelle, have you met a lot of autoharp players as you've traveled around? And
Oh, quite a few. There's quite a few people in the colleges now that plays autoharp.
I didn't know how popular it had gotten, but
There's a lot of people that play autoharps, and I'm continually ordering one for somebody.
A lot of people that don't, too, you know. It's a difficult instrument to play, really.
How old is
Yeah.
the instrument, Mama?
Well,
Where'd they come from?
it's older than I am quite a bit. That's what, you know. When I was a kid, I played one, a smaller one than this. We had one that had 5 bars, and I used to drag it off the table, sit on the floor with it, and played when I was a kid. And
What's the difference between an autoharp and a zither?
well, quite a bit. The zither doesn't have these bars on it. It has a fingerboard, kind of over here, kind of like a guitar neck, as zither does, on the side. And the zither doesn't have these bars. I've never tried to play a zither. I've seen one, but I've never tried to play one.
Well, a lot of people call an autoharp a zither. They get 'em
Yeah,
mixed up.
they do that, I guess, just because June used to call it one all the time. Used to call it a zither.
I think what I remember most is the guitar playing.
Well,
fingerpicking
I
style.
played the guitar on all of the records that we made all down through the years. Guitar is the only thing I used on the records, and the autoharp was used for background, just rhythm. And
Play something on guitar, man.
this old guitar here I've had since about 1920. I think I bought it in 1928. And
Is that the first one you used?
no, I used an old Stella on the first, about the two first sessions that I made. On the first one, I used a Stella. On the next one, I had I think it was a Gibson, but it wasn't this one. It was a different one. But I had them to order this one for me. I got it in 1928 in Kingsport, Tennessee.
Pick
And
it. Play something.
I'll play a little bit of a tune here, that the style that I learned from a colored man that used to come to our house and play guitar, and he played with his finger and his thumb,
Oh,
kind
really?
of like Chet, yes.
What
So
was his
I
name,
can't
Mama?
play like his name is Esley Riddles, and he used to come to the house, and quite often, you know, AP would bring him up, and we'd sit around and play, and he really knew a lot of old songs and played a lot of good guitar. So I'll try to do a little bit of his style on this Sweet Allie.
Mama, I know that you've inspired a lot of us to play guitar and everything else, but I'm sure that back in your time that you had an idol for a guitar player. Do you remember who he was or she was?
Well, there wasn't too many of them back in my younger days, but since, the last few years, Chet Atkins, I guess, is about the greatest I know of, and Merle Travis, and I like them all. I like all the guitar players. And I used to listen to, I don't know if any of you's ever heard him play guitar or not, but Bert Hutchison used to play with the Fruit Jar Drinkers. And he played guitar with his finger and thumb, kind of like Chet does. And I play a little bit of that style, not too much. And I learned my style, that picking style that I learned, that I do rather, the style that I play. I learned it from a colored boy.
When did y'all come to the Grand Ole Opry?
1950.
1950.
We were in Richmond, Virginia from 43 till 47, or the first part of 48. And then we were in Knoxville, Tennessee for almost a year. And from there to Springfield, Missouri for 8 months. And then we come to the Grand Ole Opry. And Chet went to work with us in Knoxville. And we took him to Springfield with us and brought him to Nashville. And we had a pretty tough time getting him into Nashville. Y'all know about it, I guess. Well, a lot of great guitar players have told me that, that I inspired them to play the guitar, or they probably never would have played. And Grady Martin's told me this, and Chet, and a lot of them, from listening to our records. But we had an autoharp and a guitar, and that's all we had. So I had to do all of the lead, on the guitar, and Sara just played background with the autoharp. And sometimes if I didn't have the key on the autoharp, I'd have to take a capo and fix another guitar for her to play in the key that I was in. She could only play in 2 keys, and that was C and G. So I had to get her to where she could play in whatever key I was in, And I'm guilty of the same thing, of using a capo, because I've done it all my life. And I don't know, I guess that's... When I started playing the guitar, I didn't have nobody to play with me, so that's how I developed the style of picking in the rhythm too, Mm-hmm. And they call it the Carter scratch now. Some of them do.
There's hardly a session goes by that somebody doesn't say, "We'll play some Mother Maybelle."
Well, it makes me feel good to think that all of you great musicians, I'm real happy and thrilled to have all of you on my session. And yeah, I told them when you all came in here, I said, they're scaring me to death. We did a record one time with another label, and they come in with all these violins, all these violins, and they had me right in the middle of all this big orchestra thing, and I said, what am I going to do with this, And they said, well, you're going to play. And I had to take a break in the middle of all those violins, and they just about scared me to death. I'd never worked with a gang of, people like that before, with all of them violins and everything, but it came out pretty good.
I'm Fred Carter Jr. I've been in Nashville probably too long, but I think one probably the greatest pleasures I've had is doing this album with you, Mother Maybelle.
Well, thank you, Fred.
It's kind of like going back, when you're a little fella, learning how to pick a guitar. And I really enjoy it very much.
Well, thank you.
Well, I'm Bob Moore. I've been in Nashville all my life, but in 1950, when you first came to Nashville, is when I met you and when I got to work some on the Opry with you. And matter of fact, that was when I first got married, and Anita got married about the same time, and we all used to kind of hang around together.
Yeah.
And I didn't think back then that we would be doing a big album like this together now, but it's really a pleasure.
Thank you, Bobby.
I'm Tommy Alsop, and I hate to follow Bob Moore's line there, but it's a real honor, Mother Maybelle, to be on the album with you.
So thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Pete Drake, and I've been in Nashville about 13 years, and two of the high points, I guess, in my career, I've recorded with just about everybody and his dog, but I did an album a few years ago with Bob Wells, and he was a first, and you, Mother Maybelle. I think I've got a bigger thrill out of that than just about anybody I've ever recorded with.
Well, thank you, Pete. Appreciate it.
I'm Red Lane, and I'd like to say that I got to know you pretty well whenever we were working the Cash show together, and there's just no words that I can say that could really say what I feel about working this album with you. I'm really appreciative.
Well, thank you, Red. I'm glad to have you.
We got Bobby Thompson. He's been in Nashville 6 months.
He just worked his last session.
For me.
Well, I'm Bob Thompson. I've been here just a little bit longer than 6 months. But this is the first time I've got to work with any of the Carters, and it's a real pleasure. Didn't know you picked 5. I'm looking forward to hearing that, too.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
I'm Kelso Hurston, and I'd like to say that Mother Maybelle inspired me from the beginning, and she still does, and I think she's one of the greatest.
Thank you very much.
I'm Buddy Harmon, your friendly drummer. I've been working with Mother Maybelle for a long time, her and all the Carter family, and I'd like to say that it's a real pleasure doing this album. I've really enjoyed it very much.
Thank you, buddy. Nice to have all of you.
Hey, Jim Colvard here. Just like everybody else, I guess, I learned one of my first songs was Wildwood Flower, and I really love it, and it's a great pleasure to pick with you, Mother Maybelle.
Thank you. Nice to have you.
Mother Maybelle, it's Chuck Cochran, and I'm enjoying it just like everybody else, and I hope that I tuned the Autoharp satisfactorily.
Oh, you sure did. Thank you, Chuck. And I'd like to say that I'm just as happy and thrilled as I can be to have such a nice bunch of people working with me. And they're all great musicians. And I think we're going to have the biggest album I've ever had out of this.
Let's hear it from Mama Maybelle.
I would like to know if you still have your original guitar that you had, and if you do, how much do you want for it?
Well, it's not for sale.
Oh, wait.
No.
I'd
I
love
don't
to have
even
it.
use it myself anymore. I may bring it and use it on this album tomorrow. If I use my guitar some, I will.
Oh, I wish you would.
I
I'd like
don't
to see
carry
it.
on the road with me anymore. It's not the guitar that I made my first ones with. You know, what I used on my first ones was an old cheap Stella guitar. Very cheap one. And I played with my bare fingers. I didn't have a pick or nothing.
What happened to it?
I have no idea whatever happened to it. I wish I did. I wish I could find it.
You said that you used a capo. Did you make your own capo? They didn't have capos then.
Yeah, I found one. When I bought my Gibson guitar, I bought one at the music store. And that was about a couple of years after we started recording, about 29, when I got one. And I used I used to try to play a little steel guitar. Pete, you can't hear none of it because it was bad, I tell you. But back then, you know, I turned my strings down, put a little steel bar under the neck, up a little, and played on my regular guitar, you know. And I did several records like that. Anything to get something a little different, you know. There we were with the Autoharp and guitar. There wasn't much to do with that, you know.
Well, show me some Mother Maybelle licks on the stage.
Well, I couldn't do that now, I don't think. And I used to play with a steel bar on my finger, you know. Quite a few of them do that now, I think. In fact, my little grandson plays that way.
What about the Autoharps? Are they made now like they were in those days?
Oh, yes, they are making a lot more of them now than they ever did.
But aren't they made different now?
Yeah, they're making new models, you know. They're the same strings, same amount of strings and everything, and they're just a little bit different models, you know, just change the body of them a little bit.
They have a whole lot more to them now, don't they?
They have different bars. The one I had, the first, had 5 bars on it, and you play in 2 keys, and that was all. And the next one was 8, and then it went to 12, and then it went to 15, and now it's 21. So I can't go much farther with that, you know, with that amount of strings, because it'd all be covered up with the bars.
Is this one here that you're using now, is it one of the original ones?
Yeah, that one. No, this was a new one. This 21 bar one is. That one over there is a new one too, but it's a little older than this one. I've got an old. We have the original Autoharp in the Hall of Fame that we made our first records with. It's in the Hall of Fame down here, and it's just about that thick. Sarah kept it, but I don't know whatever happened to my guitar. I wish I did. I think one of the girls in the community there got it after I got my new guitar, not even thinking, you know, then. You didn't think that you'd ever need it or ever want it for anything.
Did you think when you recorded the Wildwood Flower that today it would still probably be the most played instrumental in the world? You know, there's hardly a
No, I
stage
never
show.
even dreamed of Wildwood Flower hanging on like it has, but it's really been a biscuit
Well, like that
for us.
Yes.
Made many a biscuit for us yet.
Yeah.
Didn't you write Wildwood Flower?
No, I didn't. Wildwood Flower is an old tune. Now, some of the words we probably, did, but it's my grandmother knew Wildwood Flower, and I believe at one time or other, I think some of the words have kind of gotten mixed up till they are supposed to have been something else, or because they don't make too much sense in a few places, in the song. And I believe that they have just misunderstood and got them. But I guess if we hadn't have found it and recorded it, it'd probably been dead forever. Nobody ever found it, because I don't know where, to tell you the truth, where it came from, the original.
Was it known as Wildwood Flower when your grandmother sang it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was, ever since I can remember, when I was a little tot, I used to pull that autoharp off of the table and sit on the floor with it because I couldn't reach up there to play it. And I knew Wildwood Flower then. And she sang it, and my mother, used to play banjo, 5-string banjo. And everybody in the family sang Wildwood Flower. There's another person that I'm very proud that said that my autoharp playing had inspired him to play the piano, and that was Floyd Cramer. I don't know if y'all have ever heard that or not, but I heard that when I was in Florida, and I hadn't heard that before. But several people have told me that he said from my autoharp, I don't know what I played on the autoharp that he heard that gave him the idea to play the piano like he plays it. But there's some things I do, that I kind of jump the bars that makes that sound that he gets. That he gets on the piano.
The kids nowadays are really digging the Carter family, the old records that you did, even more so when I was coming up, especially the college kids they really know Mother Maybelle now.
Yeah, I think since I did this thing with the nitty gritty dirt band, this Will the Circle Be Unbroken, that was the biggest surprise of my life of ever doing anything like that. But then when I got the nomination for the Grammy Award, I thought, well, it's not happening to me here, But of course, that's probably as far as it will go. But anyway, we did get nominated for the Grammy this year on the album.
I remember in New York several years ago too, and did a show at Carnegie Hall, and Mother Maybelle was the one that got all the reviews and the trades and everything. She really tore them up.
Well, there's a lot of the college kids, and I played quite a few of the colleges, and the universities and things like that, like UCLA and University in Chicago, and just Philadelphia and a lot of different places, Newport Folk Festival, and a gang of them, and I know quite a few of them, and they're really a good audience, and
they come to listen.
Yeah, there's one thing I did by myself back. This has been, I guess, in about '64. I went to Hollywood and played one of those coffee houses, for 3 weeks by myself, and of course that's about the only people that I had was the college kids, and every night. And I would have never believed it till I done it, but I did. Sometimes I do 3 shows a night, an hour show each one. And I had nobody but myself, and Mike Seeger played guitar behind me, or played autoharp. When I played the autoharp, he played guitar. And I had my banjo, and I had my guitar, and my autoharp. I played everything I knew. But they enjoyed it, and I just sit and take my good old time and tune my instruments when I got ready and anything. They just a wonderful audience to work to.
They know all the words to the song.
Oh yeah, every one of them.
Sure,
All of the old ones, just about all of them. Some that I don't even know now. There's so many of them that I've forgotten. I got a list at the house that's got every song that we recorded, and actually there's a few on there that I don't even remember ever doing. And I'd have to hear the record or see the music to know what it is, to know what they are, you know.
How many songs have you recorded?
They're pretty close, 300 of them, I think, around in that area. I didn't count them on that list, but they're all on there. I've got them all on tape from the day we recorded them, the date they were recorded, and every one of them.
That'd be interesting to listen to.
The day they were recorded. I have a friend up in Pennsylvania that taped all of these for me and sent them to me, and he knows more about the Carter family than I will ever know. He just had every record, and any album or any record that I don't have or that I can't find, he'll find it for me some way. And he brings it to me every time he comes. He'll bring me some old original 78s, you know, that we did, or Bluebirds, and I don't know how many of them he's brought to me.
Bluebird, was that the first?
Well, that was after RCA was first,
Yeah.
and then the Bluebird. That was a cheaper record, you know, then. And then we recorded for RCA first, and we went to, I guess, to Decca, I believe, next, and then to Columbia. We recorded on all three labels. And we made our last recording in 1940 in Chicago. And we went to Texas to work for Consolidated Drug Company on XERA, it used to be, that blasted all over the world. Mercy. I never saw as much mail in my life. And every day of the world we get mail from every state, everywhere in the Union, you know. And when we left and came home, we had over 5,000 letters in a box that came in.
Was that a daily radio show you were doing?
Yeah, every morning, every night, 2 days. We had an hour in the evening, an hour in the morning.
Where was that, in Texas?
Del Rio, Texas. Yeah. And the first year, 1938 and 39, we went over in person and did these shows. And then after that, we went to San Antonio and cut transcriptions, and they sent them over. And we was there for 2 years. See, we only worked in the fall and winter months, you know, 6 months out of the year. And 19 and 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42 is the years that we were there. And we finally started cutting these transcriptions, and J.E. Maynard's was there. And the Pickard family was in Del Rio when we was there in 1938 and 39, and Lou Childry was on the same station. And so we finally took my girls out to San Antonio, and they worked with us, and they went to school. They had to go to school, and we finally worked about, we worked 3 hours, 1 day a week, and that's all we worked. We cut 6 30-minute shows on Thursday after school was out in the evening, and that's all we done.
Did you keep your home in Virginia?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my husband was there. He was working. He couldn't, you know, leave his job then.
I wonder if that job's still open.
Yeah, he was railway mail clerk, and he was jumping around pretty much himself at that time.
Now, we want to know how many records you used to sell when you first started.
Oh, now that's another question. That's something I couldn't tell you. Have no idea how many. But I'll tell you now, I'll just tell you the truth about it. When we first started recording, somebody else made all the money. We didn't get too much of it. You know, they never put out an album on us till after AP died. And they had all of those records they could have. You know, they had them all for years, and we wasn't recording or anything. But they never did till he died. And then they came out with an album, and now we got about 8, I think, on the market since 1960.
1940 was whenever AP died.
No, he died in 1960.
He did?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. From what you said a while ago, about
he just quit
in 1940. Then you all just quit recording.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
See, there was a period of time there that they didn't record for so long, you know, and that was about 1940, 41, or somewhere along in there, that nobody was recording in, you know.
You know, I'd like to say that one of the most exciting times that I had while we were doing the cast show, the TV show, was whenever you and Sara came and did the shot on the show. And I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Well, I enjoyed doing it with her because she's a person that, if she, I don't know, she's hard to sing with in a way, but when you stay away from her a while. But I got so used to her when I was working with her. If she gets tired, as June says, if she had to swallow, she would swallow. It didn't matter where it was at. Right in the middle of the song. And this is what AP would do, you know, when we was recording. If he felt like singing, he'd sing, and if he didn't, he'd walk over and look out the window, or he'd come back. See, he didn't play an instrument, and he'd just walk around over the studio, and he'd come over and sing 3 or 4 words, and then he'd go off somewhere else. So we never depended on him for anything. We just let him sing when he got ready. Oh, me.
Kind of like Red Lane is today.
Hey, wait a minute.
But he did. He'd just walk over there and look out the window just like nothing happened. And if he felt like singing, he'd come back and sing a few words, and then he'd go off.